Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This is Interview with a Reptilian Alien. This was a hairy one. Before I get into it, just want to mention Patreon. If you'd like to support Astral Club, you can do so on Patreon. When you join, you get access to direct mail, chat function, and some other stuff. It's a lot of fun. If you're interested, there is a link in the description. Next up, astral projection lessons. If you'd like a lesson with me to learn how to astral project or just polish up your skills, be glad to work with you. I work with folks now all over the world. All you have to do is go down to the description section and send me an email asking for more information. Lastly, I just want to quickly mention I have a new playlist title, and that is Interviews with Non-Humans. So if you enjoy these types of episodes, and maybe you missed one or two, who knows, go to the playlist and you'll be able to see them listed there. Okay, let's get into it. I went to my angel guide with a request to help set up a Pleiadian interview. Some people have requested it recently. And I thought, it'd be nice just to talk with them. Their reputation precedes them. They tend to be positively oriented entities, especially as related to humans. However, as often happens, he said that there are greater needs right now, and that the reptilians have demanded to talk with a human. His words sent a chill of terror down my spine. You have to understand, I've done my best over the years to give their kind a wide berth. And people have asked me repeatedly, hey, why don't you check out the reptilians? Hey, why don't you see if you can talk to the reptilians? Why not try to find the reptilians? I have this, and I think all mammals do, this atavistic fear of reptiles. It's the same kind of thing that humans have with sharks. You have this feeling as a human and as a mammal that, you know what, if a tiger confronted you, or a lion, or some other fierce mammal, maybe a bear, that you'd have some small chance of doing something that might reach it in even the smallest way to talk your way out of being attacked. Call it mammalian brotherhood, if you will. But when you're looking at a snake, or a crocodile, or a shark, you could see there's nothing behind their eyes that has any touch of mammalian softness or kinship. There's nothing there that you can reach, that you could talk your way out of being attacked by that shark or by that hungry crocodile or being bitten by that rattlesnake. They're just an alien organism that you have no prayer of connecting with. And that's always been my attitude towards dealing with these reptilians. I said, listen, why me? Why doesn't the U.S. or the United Nations, for that matter, the United Nations send some diplomats? I mean, nobody's paying me to negotiate with dangerous aliens. He looked at me and he gave me that look. He said, because the last 3 diplomats have never returned. And in your astral form, you'll be uniquely protected. You'll need to use your famous, and I broke in, ability to BS. He said, resourcefulness. Remember, these beings are very dangerous. There's a lot depending on you here. Oh, great, no pressure, I thought. I couldn't think of any way I could talk my way out of this. My angel can be like a reptile at times. Once his mind's made up, there's no talking your way out. So I just gave in. As I was thinking about this frightening mission, the thought came to me. Can the reptilians see into the astral? I asked, alarmed. My angel guide shook his head. No. Although their infrared and UV sight is extraordinary, to make you visible, I'll surround your astral self with heat energy so they can pick you up. So I think, they probably have vision like some reptiles that can see into the infrared spectrum, can see heat. So perhaps they'll see me as some sort of red outline. I don't know. But it's probably something like that. I said, oh, fantastic. Oh, well, send me to the wolves, I guess. I blacked out. When I regained consciousness, I was in a kind of briefing room. The sterile metallic chamber was illuminated by a sickly green glow of the internal lighting. The walls were smooth, almost organic in texture. At the center of the room stood a large elongated table, its surface alive with shifting patterns. It was some kind of technology or perhaps a biological component that I had no way of identifying. I wish I had more science knowledge, more engineering knowledge, but I wasted my time in business courses and things like that. The presence of the reptilians filled the room with this oppressive silence. It was as if they were bending the atmosphere around them, if that makes any sense. I noticed that there was 3 reptilians that were waiting on the far side of the room. They were tall, over 7 feet in height. Their scaly skin ranged from dark emerald to an almost black hue. The tallest one had to be easily 8 feet. Their heads were elongated, crowned with ridges that resembled the spines of some ancient sea creature. Their eyes were definitely the most unsettling aspect. They were huge, black, classy, with no pupils that I could see. And there was no warmth and no emotion greeting me, that's for sure. Just an endless, bottomless abyss that seemed to take in everything and give nothing in return. Their eyes reminded me of sharks. If you've seen Jaws, you'll remember Quint talking about a shark's eyes. He said they're like a doll's eyes. They don't seem to be living until they bite you. Anyway, I took a seat at the end of the table facing these reptilians. A device that functioned as some sort of a telepathic translator was embedded in a raised panel in front of me, and it kind of buzzed to life with a low mechanical hum. I would hear their words translated into English, and they would hear mine in their guttural language. I sensed, though, that there was no true way to bridge the gap between us. Not really. The tallest of the 3, his scales were dark and almost luminous, was the first to speak. I think he was the leader. His voice was a deep rasp that reverberated in his chest. We were told to expect another human representative. Still, your manner of arrival was curious. Why can't we detect your blood scent? That definitely put a chill down my spine. I said, well, you can't. I left my physical body behind somewhere safe. I heard that our last 3 ambassadors got lost. I wanted to avoid that complication. It was trying to be diplomatic here, trying my best. It was tough, though, to read their responses to my words. You're looking for these facial expressions that humans have, and I think if you really get used to working with mammals, I bet you even tigers and lions I bet you their facial expressions can be read by people who know them, and they can get something going on, like what's going on behind their eyes, like what's going on inside their head. But I got nothing. I got nothing from these things. And the worst, I got no telepathic impressions either. I mean, they were like a blank slate. I got nothing. And I tried too. I really tried. I turned up the power level to my nth degree. I tried something that would probably give a headache to a human, but nothing. It was like a brick wall. But I imagined that their expressions gave me some sort of grudging respect. They went on and they said, "We were wondering when your people would tire of sending food to nourish us." A horrible series of grunts emanated from the three reptilians that I think was some sort of laughter. Now you see why I wanted to avoid these things. They went on. "So it seems that not all your vermin race," that's what they said, "have stunted intellects." The tallest reptilian said in a low growl, "Perhaps you begin to understand us and may yet prove worthy of life." I kind of pulled myself together, remained calm. I said, "I'm here to determine what your race wants and if we can work together." Still trying to be diplomatic. The tallest one laughed harshly. The others flanking him watched me with their unblinking, unfeeling eyes. "You are not the first to attempt this," the reptilian leader continued. "Many have tried to communicate with us. Most have failed. Some have died. You will fail too." I held his gaze despite the discomfort creeping up my spine. "Then why allow this interview?" I asked. "Why meet with me at all?" The alien tilted his head slightly, as if considering the question. His elongated neck shifted with eerie smoothness, the muscles rippling beneath the scales. "Because, human, we have learned that your kind is persistent. You believe that understanding leads to peace. We have learned the opposite. Understanding is a weakness." Another chill ran through me. "You don't want peace?" "We don't need it." The voice was cold. "We thrive through conflict, through dominance. Peace is a waste of resources. You misunderstand the purpose of existence." I took a deep breath, fighting this growing sense of dread. "Then what is your purpose?" I tried to keep my voice steady, despite the fact that even though I wasn't in my body, I kind of felt a knot in my stomach, or at least where my stomach would be. The leader's black eyes narrowed at that. "To conquer, to rule, to shape the galaxy in our image." He paused, almost savoring the words. "And we will finally add this planet, our ancient home, stolen by human vermin, to our empire." "Why do you call Earth your planet? Humans haven't found any evidence of civilization before us," I asked. The lead reptilian roared in what I think was anger. I guess I had touched a nerve. "We had colonized this world when your ancestors were still scurrying around mudhole to mudhole. It is ours by right of discovery and conquest." The words hung in the air like a weight. I, once again, wasn't in my physical body, but if I was, I think there'd be sweat that would be forming on my brow at that point. I realized that this translator was doing more than just translating my words. I think it was also translating something else that was deeper. There was a sense of a predatory hunger, an ancient, unrelenting drive to dominate that no machine could completely capture. It was instinctual, and it terrified me, though I tried to hide my fear under a cover of bravado. You speak of conquest, I said, focusing again. I said, but why talk to us at all? If your intentions are so clear, why meet with me? The reptilian leader leaned forward, his claws clicking on the table. Because, human, he said, his voice suddenly sharp, there is value in knowing how much you will beg for your life. We want to see if your species will offer something interesting, something worth sparing you. We have observed you for many years, but your unpredictability intrigues us. Perhaps you will surprise us. And if we don't surprise you, I ask, then we will take what we want, and this planet will be consumed. These reptilian aliens were clearly technologically superior and much older than humanity. I learned a long time ago that when you're competing against someone who's clearly smarter or superior to you, don't challenge them to a game of chess. Instead, organize a nice game of poker. I'm sure your forces could overwhelm Earth if it weren't for our allies. Here was the time for them to call my bluff and to see how confident they truly felt. These aliens respected strength, not diplomacy. I crafted a statement that I thought would match their arrogance and passive aggression. I'd hate to see the skins of your soldiers drying on the sands of Earth if you were foolish enough to attack our alliance. The three reptilians began to grind their teeth and growl at each other. You must provide proof of your ally, the reptilian finally said gruffly. I decided to go for broke at this point. I think you mean allies, plural, and your request for proof is denied. Our pact with our allies is our business, not for curious lizards. At the lizard remark, the reptilians became very disturbed. Touched another nerve there, I thought with a smile. I knew for a fact that our government has had dealings with grays and the tall whites. I gambled that these reptilian aliens were powerful enough to counter the what I said was I gambled that these aliens, the grays and the tall whites, were powerful enough to counter the reptilians, and that they would actually do so in our defense. So far, by the reptilian reaction to my words, they must have been worried about these alien groups' relations with Earth as well. Well, I think this interview is over, don't you? I appreciate your warm hospitality and trust you will continue to behave yourselves on Earth so our forces won't be forced to discipline you. Oh, and you might want to clean your den here. It smells of fear and excrement. With that, the reptilians leapt furiously at my astral body, but I vanished right then and there with a little smile at the end. Well, that was my rather short encounter with these reptilians. They're obviously hostile in nature, but they're also, I think, very deliberate and very conservative. They're not risk takers, and they're certainly not poker players. I think a good bluff can go a long way in dealing with these individuals and this species. I think they're very literal. Let's face it, mammals in our ancestors, we survived by hiding, by various tricks. And so I think we've learned certain skills that powerful reptiles never had to bother to learn. And I think as evolution carried things forward and they became technologically evolved, and we evolved as well, that a lot of these characteristics carried on. And so my advice would be in negotiation with these creatures is to not use the diplomacy, but match their own bluffness, gruffness, arrogance, and disdain, because that's what they understand. And also, don't be afraid to twist the truth a little bit and bluff when necessary, because we can take advantage of their lack of guile, at least as compared to us. Well, if you found that interesting, please hit the like button, share it with those of like minds, subscribe if you haven't already, and comments, questions, let me know. It's always interesting to read up on it. This is Rick, and as always, I will see you on the astral plane.